I'm sure that we've got a lot to say about that. But one thing I say to everybody, let's remember this, and it's out there anyway. It's out there in the world. We talk about slavery. We talk about modern day slavery. Go to the media, go anywhere else, they'll tell you there is modern day slavery. Yeah. Now, modern day slavery affects a lot of black people. It affects a lot of black people. And the form of modern day slavery, it comes in different forms now, doesn't it? It comes in terms of trafficking. It comes in terms of child labor. It comes in all different forms. Yeah. That also they're saying that roughly about, I think it's 50 million people are in. They say roughly around about 50 million people are in modern slavery. So this is not even us talking about it. This is out there. This is in the press. So in terms of is there slavery? Are we living in slavery? Some of us are. Yeah. And I've said already a lot to do with the mindset, but there's even more than the mindset. There's the physical scars too. There's the physical scars. Now to tackle it, they're talking about obviously racism has to be dealt with. The perception
Sorry,
of
Tony. What do you
no, no,
think
no,
that
no.
is?
Wait, please. Let me
Yeah.
finish. Let me finish. Yeah. So these poverty is another thing that needs to be tackled. Inequality needs to be tackled. Yeah. All these things need to be tackled for slavery to be eradicated. But in answer to the question that we're talking about, modern slavery exists. Yeah. And it's real, it's rampant. Yeah. It happens a lot in Africa. You tend to find young people in the cocoa farms, they're in the mining, and they're getting next to nothing for it. Yeah. So I want to go over to Shola because I know you're looking to say something. Yeah, Shola, over to you.
Can I
No,
quickly chip
look,
in?
as I said,
One second,
uh,
one second, please. Let Shola say, and then you can come. Tony.
as I said, so I mean, on this particular subject, because there's so many different caveats to it, and I'm glad we're trying to move it away, not just from the transatlantic stage. I'm not saying that, I'm not belittling that in any way, shape, or form, but as you've said there, that there are many other aspects, and you talk about modern day slavery. I still believe it's still going back to the mindset in the sense that when those kind of atrocities are happening, child labor, child slavery and so forth, those things are based on gain, on greed, right? Mentioned before that we these sort of acts are not done unless one wants to kind of raise one's status, or raise their standing, there's a supposed standing in society by whatever means necessary. The same kind of predator mindset is still being employed, and so everything is still going back to this mindset issue. Again, just in conclusions, I would say there's all of us. There's so much work to be done within us. You know what I mean? Whatever we're seeing on the outward is a direct reflection of what we're thinking, what our motives are, and so forth. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that, really.
Okay. Femi, you wanted to say something? Thanks a lot, Shola. Femi?
Yeah. I want to round up with this and sneak out. Just now, this is it, gentlemen. If the head is having issue with rot, as in ROT, if there is rot in the head, what becomes of the actions of the hands, even of the hand, of the stomach, of the legs? This is why a number are struggling with recognizing and understanding the choice that needs to be made, which definitely will go a long way to influence giving the mindset what I call an attitude adjustment. Show me one, I'll use the word traditional custodians in Nigeria that is not going about with Rolls Royce. None, as at the last count or as at the last check. But meanwhile, in most communities, where you have these traditional custodians, not even a manufacturing plant that fabricates tire nuts or tire screws exist in their community. And you want the struggling man to be able to recognize the choice to be made with regards to how he or she sees outside of the country. They go about with all these exotic automobiles, but meanwhile, in their communities, I would like to know where there is a plant that manufactures a safety pin. And when there is some technical issue with that automobile, guess where they're going to bring the technical or mechanical expert from? So when you have the custodians of the so-called tradition that should have set the pace and the exemplary lifestyle that would have influenced, respectfully, I use the word followers or subjects. When they set that so-called standard, you can see why it's difficult for people not to see, oh, I do not have a tomorrow in that kind of environment. And they start gravitating towards the so-called slave masters environment. And before you know it, the dream of cohabitating outside where they should have been will now happen. If the head do not fix it, where I'm driving at, if the head has not positioned well to fix it, this will become a rhetorical noise. I leave it at that.
I think I get you loud and clear, and I think you made it loud and clear before. And I think obviously you're being very careful with your words too. But yeah, the head of the community, in most cases, in a lot of cases, in Africa especially, takes advantage of the rest of the population. And also, like you said, if it's not good, then what's going to happen? Yeah, that's great. That's great. Shola, on that.
Well, I can't really say too much there on what Fabian said, because I know he was trying to be very careful.
Yeah,
in what he was breaking down. No, but I could read between the lines there, and again, just kind of.
But isn't it interesting how we're having this conversation though, and we're having to be very careful? Isn't it interesting? Isn't it very interesting? Does that mean that we also on this call have a little bit of enslavery inside our mind?
This is it. This is the thing, Tony. You see,
our minds are enslaved.
You see
that we're only free to a certain level.
To a certain level. You see what I'm saying?
To a certain level, we become enslaved because we tread carefully. Yeah. Now, to be not a slave, you should not have to tread carefully. You should not have to talk carefully. You should be able to express yourself. You should be able to talk about anybody. You should be able to. But we know what's going to happen, especially in countries like Nigeria, or Ghana, or anywhere. We know what can happen there. Yeah, you might land at the airport and say, "Yeah, I watched you the other day." Come.
No, but that's the reality, though, isn't it? That's the reality. I've noted you. I've marked you. You are marked. You're marked, man.
Look,
man.
You always noted me. Don't worry, I'm a good guy. Hero. We're having a bit of fun. Hero, over to you. Hero, do you want to say something, Hero?
Yeah.
No, the things I was going to say. Go on, Hero.
Yeah,
go on here.
It's actually nobody's actually free. Even the countries that have your freedom is limited. You have a boundary. Like in Nigeria now, you cannot move to Ghana and express your freedom. Your freedom ends with a boundary. So nobody is actually free, in quotes. So there's always a limitation to your freedom. All right. So, but what we are trying to see is how we can be able to have more expression before life is over. Because it seems like We are caged.
Exactly. Thank you.
Most people that are fighting for their right, once you come out, like if I want to be arrested in Nigeria now, I know what I would tweet. You won't see me again. I'm gone. Because there are gatekeepers that monitors these things. So we are very careful, even since we still have responsibilities that we're catering for. But the truth is, the slavery is there. But we are hoping that the world has moved. In 1959, when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat for a white passenger, that was what started the Civil Rights War. Now, the people used to accept it until at a point the woman said, whatever will happen tomorrow, let it happen today. And that was what evolved into that change that we're looking for. So, like what we are doing here now is not a waste of time. As we are gathering momentum, as we are gathering energy, when the right time comes, there will be a break. There will be a push to the next level. People who never experienced what we're experiencing now will see it as a normal life. But we knew what it took us to get to that point. So I strongly believe that just talking about it is already stimulating us enough to reason this thing, because the truth, I feel like people don't leave Nigeria or Africa to the West because they love to go to the West. No, it is situation that pushes. This is a setup, all right? And I believe that somebody is writing the blueprint of all these things. But I believe that one day we're going to override these things. So that's what I feel, right? Yeah.
Very good. Very good, Hero. Can I just say that just to top up what Hero was saying again? Love what you're saying, Hero. You know that's the fact of the matter. Somebody had to. You mentioned Rosa Parks. Something had to change. Something had to shift. And I just want to say again, guys, that listen, this kind of platform, or this particular platform, should be one that, you know, when people see us, they're not just seeing a group of guys, you know, just waffling, just talking anyhow. There's got to be something that a seed is planted in them. They're gleaning something. As Hero said, that's going to maybe galvanize some kind of momentum, you know, some kind of role model influence, you know, something positive, something that they can build on, you know, to take to the next level. And so, you know, as he rightly says, I think I just want to agree with him there. Thank you, Hero.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, to what Hero just said, was this. I've got 3 boys, yeah? And I was discussing with Tony also, the objective that our parents had in coming to the Western world in the 50s no longer exists anymore. So, do we tell I've got 3 sons, do we tell them, okay, go to university, yes, get your qualification and try to get a job? The economic climate in England, and especially in England, is going to get worse and worse and worse. The objective that we used to have, that our parents had, no longer exists no more in England, in terms of work, in terms of opportunity. Even the white people are leaving the country. I'm not being an alarmist, I'm just telling you reality that I face, the reality that we see. And why are there so many Nigerians in Western? There's a saying, there's nowhere apart from the moon that you will not find a Nigerian. Yeah? Why?
We'll soon be the moon, don't we?
Why is there so many? Yeah, exactly. Why are we leaving
the
beautiful continent to come to Sweden, huggle up, freezing, turn the heat on, wear hoodie in the house? Because of economics and political issues.
Yeah.
And we cannot talk about that without going back historically.
Yeah.
And then go forward. The solution to the panel is, what do we do now?
Well, that's a good question. Question, Jeff. And I think, you know, one of the things that we have, like Hero's already said, this is not a waste of time. This is actually very useful. And you know how it becomes useful? We all have children. Yeah. If it can't help us, it can help our children. Yeah. It can help their mindsets to no longer be enslaved. Yeah. And it can help us guide them through life so that they become free in the mind, free to do, you know, as much as they should be able to do. Yeah. So what I would say here is like we've got to look at this for our children, the sake of the future of our children. You know, the great news that I'm hearing now, because I've been talking about decentralization for a long time, and we've been talking about AI, all these things about empowerment. Now, in Nigeria, in Ghana, the young people take to it like duck to water. The old people are the ones that are skeptical. The old people, they're the ones that say, "Oh, tell me more about it." You know, the young people are more like, you know what? This is what we want. This is what we want. We want to break the change from this old traditional thing where the power is at the top, where the money is at the top. And we are just bowing down, doubling, and doing all kinds of things so that we can get a little bit of change. Now, the change now is going to change because what happens is the money is going to come to the bottom. The money is decentralized from
Work
the
up.
top. So now the money is going to come from the bottom, and sooner or later, there's going to be none of that. So the good news is the younger generation, if we can train them now to let them start looking at, decentralization, looking at using artificial intelligence to help them. We talk about opportunity. Joe talks about opportunities, jobs. What we're talking about there really is if there's no jobs, if there's no opportunity, then remember we talk about enslaving or slavery. What encourages slavery and enslavement? Poverty. Poverty is one of the things, isn't it? So if people don't have money, it's easy to enslave them, isn't it? We talk about
Yeah.
inequality. It's easy to enslave them. Now, if the young ones now have money, just like the old ones, then it's hard to enslave them. You know, we don't talk about it. There's a lot of human trafficking and slavery in sub-Sahara, isn't there? A lot of Nigerians are found and Ghanaians are found in Libya, yeah, because of the poverty you have in those countries, yeah, and they believe that obviously they sell them to these people in Libya and places like that, and do all that stuff. That used to happen anyway. I don't know whether it happens now, but it used to happen. But what I'm saying here right now is, look, this is fantastic for us to be able to say, right, we've learned from this. We can now make a difference. We can now go and talk to our kids. I've got 3 boys. I've got 4 boys actually. I've got 4 boys. Yeah, I've got one daughter. But you know what? I sit down with them all the time. I say, listen, guys, you got your university degree. That doesn't make just because you're a university degree, you can still be a slave. Yeah. What we need to do is we need to make sure that you have your own business. Yeah. You can be in control of what happens around you. You know, some of you will talk about. Look, I remember doing a transfer from from Ghana to the UK when I had a business in Ghana to the UK. As soon as it was a legitimate transfer, it was from my business account to my account. As soon as I did that transfer, they closed my bank account down. That's the power of centralization. That's the power of the person at the top. And you know what? They said, you've got to prove that you own that money now. You've got to prove that you own that money. Yeah. Then I proved it. That wasn't enough because they had to go and do the investigation. It took 7 months, almost 8 months for them to unlock my account. Meanwhile, I didn't get 1 penny of interest. You understand? But guess what they were using that money for? They were trading that money. They were trading that money and making money with that. Yeah. But that's what we call centralization. Some of you will have Facebook. You have Facebook. They can shut your account down. They say you did something wrong, isn't it? Yeah. That's centralization. Decentralization, that can't happen. Yeah. Banking, they can shut your bank account. Decentralization, that can't happen. So what we need to do is we need to say, well, look, part of freedom is us being in control rather than the few being in control. The few being in control, the few with the power, with the majority power, is going to lead to enslavement. That's me.
Yeah, there's a thing now called the BRICS that is meant to is challenging the IMF. Now, the BRICS is challenging the IMF on the basis they've got physical gold in order to, they want to exchange. The world transaction takes dollars, yeah, as a payment transaction. The BRICS are meant to, some of them who joined the BRICS are Chinese, Africa, and Russia. They want to exchange the International Monetary Fund, the dollars, to their exchange. The reason being is that it doesn't give everyone in the rest of the world, yeah, equal right in terms of to exchange and building wealth. And that's why there's so many Africans who are in North, who are dying in the sea, trying to escape poverty in Africa
But Joe,
over to
Joe,
West world.
so with the BRICS, yeah, who's taking control of that? Who's running it?
The American and the Americans are
No, the BRICS. The BRICS. You said they want to get rid of the dollars. Yeah.
they want to, yeah, they want to.
So who's running that? Who's running the BRICS? Eh? Who's running it?
The Chinese, the Russians, and some of them are
That's still centralized. All that's happening in Africa is a battle of the Chinese to own Africa, the battle of the Asians to own Africa, the battle of the Americans to own Africa. It's no good for us. We will still be slaves. Yeah, we will still be enslaved. What we need is decentralization. The problem we have in Africa is you have central bank. Yeah. Once you have central bank, they're in control. You decentralize it, they lose control. The masses are in control. Yeah. So what we need is the way forward to be to eradicate, to not eradicate, to have a better standard of life is now to be the individuals be in control of what they have. Yeah. I'm not interested in the Chinese winning over the Americans. I'm not interested of the British winning over the Americans because guess what they're battling? They're battling for a share of Africa. Now, when they battle for a share of Africa, then guess what? Poverty still exists. Look at Nigeria, for example. Oil comes out from everywhere. There's oil here, there's oil there. Look at the people that live in those areas. Look at the environment in those areas. Are you telling me those people are living? Yeah? Or are they enslaved? Yeah? There are people there that can't even come out of their house, but oil can come out of the ground.